But were those positive? Did you like the people you were working with? Were they nice? Do you feel you did a good job?
I mean, yeah, I was green. I was very much figuring it out. You know, I had no proper training.
Right.
I had to figure that out, you know, on my own. And then once I actually moved out, my parents were kind of like, well, sink or swim.
Yes. Yes.
So I was definitely not enabled. I didn't have a silver spoon in my...
Right, right.
You know?
So then you just stayed out here after that.
So then I went back home for a little bit, and then I moved out, and I was like trying to figure it out and having not so fabulous day jobs and trying to understand this world at an age where I'm like, who am I? What is this?
Yes.
I'm from the suburbs of Minnesota. You know, this is not...
feeling like you're a fish out of water.
Absolutely a fish out of water.
Not hip enough maybe, or...
Oh, not at all. Not at all. Like, everybody had so much money. I'd never seen so much money. I was like, I couldn't wear the cool clothes. I didn't... And all the parts I was going out for were like rich, popular, cheerleader, like everything that was like not me. Everything that was not me was what they were like, this is who you are. I'm like,
really?
Slutty. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Did you get a lot of, you have to do nudity, you have to do topless? And
I had a lot of that when I was younger, and I said no a lot. Yeah. A lot. It was, you know, it's very interesting to see.
Directors and producers really jump on the newbies who come
to
town. They
really do. Yeah. And I actually, that was also a big reason why I think I felt such a desire to network with other women and have support with other women, because it got to the point of, because I didn't have enough credit, so people weren't taking me as seriously, which, you know, it's a catch-22. And when I would network with men in the industry wanting to legitimately network, it was inevitably like them wanting something else. And so I just stopped networking with men. I was like, I just don't, because this would be sexual harassment.
Yes.
In any other field, this would be sexual harassment.
Absolutely.
But for some reason, it's acceptable in this industry.
Yeah.
You know.
They're calling people out now a little more than before, but before it was just you don't talk about it, otherwise you're blacklisted.
Absolutely blacklisted. I still have many people who I've worked with who in more recent years have been blacklisted off of, and they're working actresses that have not gotten work because a big director wanted to sleep with the person and they were like no, and then suddenly they have a reputation of being difficult to work with. I mean, that happened. I know handfuls of women where this stuff has happened. Oh yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is also a big reason why I am such a huge proponent of more women in the entertainment industry, a big proponent of women just really sticking together, because there are amazing men in the industry. So I just want to like throw that out there. There's not like amazing men. But there's always a handful of not so great people, regardless of sex.
Yes, absolutely.
Always.
In this business, especially.
Yes.
Especially the B-listers and the D-listers. They really prey and really try to manipulate people into, if you don't do this, you can't have that.
Oh yeah, and I've had that. I've had, you know, I had a moment when I did a movie and a producer who has done big movies sat there and said he'd slander my name around town if I didn't go against my nudity writer. And I was in another country and my team was nowhere to be found, and I was like praying, and I just had strength to say like, what is it that you want? And he's like, we need more wide shots or whatever. And I'm like, well, you can't, no. You know, I was trying to negotiate with him. It was a 45-minute conversation of him bullying me into trying to do, and thank God I kept my ground, and I just was very, you know, clear and kind to him. And I said, I get you're nervous about your film doing well. I get you're worried about distribution, you know, but let's look at the footage and let's see after the fact when I get back if there's something that needs to be, you know, done. Yes. We'll talk about it then. Because they were trying to get
a great idea.
Yeah,
at least
he was very.
Like you understood his position, even.
And I did, and I legitimately did. His way of going about it was completely inappropriate, but I think he thought I was an idiot. He was like, "Well, we need, let's get a body double in for you." I'm like, "You're not going to turn a love scene into a, you know what scene?"
Yes.
To try and as if it's me.
Yes.
You know, no. And actually, in my paperwork, you couldn't do that anyway.
Right.
You wouldn't be able to do that anyway. So yeah, that was a big learning lesson, how to speak up and be strong, and you know.